It's February 28th, and this is, of course, the video like takes 30,000 to a million. Although this is getting really hard now because I'm doing some crazy moves. Before I start, I want to just clarify something I said. Well, a lot of what I said on the last episode about the Ukrainian situation. All I meant to say was that if Ukraine was part of some kind of a union, they'd be better off economically. I didn't say that anything positive about what's going on in there and people dying and all that tragedy. Okay, so I don't want that. I don't want that to be misinterpreted. And they were, trying to get into the European Union. They weren't succeeding. There wasn't traction happening too fast because there were so many problems with the country. So, but now obviously that has changed, and the European Union is more likely to accept Ukraine and make special cases about them joining that economic system. So I just thought my only point was that if they're part of some kind of a larger economic system, they'd be better off for economically, for their people, their GDP, for their lifestyle, standard of living, etc. So anyway, I just want to clarify that. Okay, I'm not trying to encourage any kind of violence. Period. So I'm going to go into the account, and after they review the account, I'm going to show you all the stocks. I will talk briefly about some of the new positions that I've entered the account. I had about $80,000 of margin that I could play with, and I probably shouldn't have done anything, but I'm trying to collect premium as always, even through these very difficult times. So I'm trying to lean on the fact that I don't know what the price is going to be. I don't know if the price is going to be higher or lower, so I'm just going to operate as I normally operate. And if it doesn't work out, then I was wrong to begin with to embark on such a strategy. So here's the, that is definitely not the account, but you'll see it soon. Also, I was looking at just some Russian companies. That's not my account. The account is this one here. I'm sitting at 177 and 100. Just wanted to make sure that you can see that. It's a little bit zoomed out, but you can see it, so that's good. I can zoom it in just a tiny bit more here for now. So if you're interested in the account, I know it's hard to see on the phone, but you can see this on a desktop, and you can see all the positions as I scroll through them. You can pause the video player at any moment to try to find out the exact positions that I have. You shouldn't need any more information than there is over here. As you can see, I have a ton of options going on at the moment. Many of them are leaps, and a lot of them are sold puts or sold calls. So these are the equity positions. I have Apple, which gained quite a bit at the very end of the session today to close out even. EBIX is continually staying about even, and I'm collecting premium on that. Part of the reason why I collect premium on EBIX is because it's just very fat. It's fat premium, and the stock doesn't move as much as the premium suggests it might. So I just keep selling calls and puts against it and trying to collect premium off of that. JD.com is almost flat, only down less than 1%, 0.75%, a little bit more. And VipShop was disappointing. It went down almost 4%. Alibaba also disappointing. It's not in my account, but I have leap options on Alibaba. I bought 5 shares of Realty Income to try to add to my position here. It's at a reasonable price, about $65 a piece. I would probably buy more if it was around 60. So if it keeps dropping, then I might sell off some other positions like Visa, or I might try to get rid of Smith and Wesson. Even though I have some call options sold against it, I might try to get rid of that position and funnel it into Realty Income, as well as any kind of money that I have available coming off of PayPal trades or anything like that. But here's some of the new positions that I've embarked on. First of all, I know this is kind of a suicide move, but I actually bought 1,000 shares of SpareBank, which is a Russian bank. And although their Russian leader is definitely not acting well, that doesn't mean that the people of Russia are bad, right? Just because our military, let's say in the United States, attacks some little country for no reason, it doesn't mean you or you want to attack that country. Okay, so we're just normal people going about our lives trying to improve our own situation as well as everybody else around us. Okay, so just because they're, politicians get deranged sometimes, it has no bearing necessarily on the businesses of that country or the people of that country. So I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater of neither Ukraine nor Russia nor Bulgaria nor Monaco or Venezuela or America or Canada. Okay, I like everyone. Okay, so everybody's good. There's no nationality out there that's a villain. There's some that have either limited information, limited perspective. That's true. Um, they have perhaps their perspective is clouded by whether it be like religious belief or something. But from a base perspective, I believe that people are good. Okay, sometimes they'll just they're just wrapped up in either self-defense or family defense or in some other kind of like human emotion that causes them to do objectively bad things. Okay, so that's my moral situation, my moral stance here on the subject. But so you can think of it like, okay, yeah, um, I'm not trying to support a Russian leader, but I am in support of Russian people. Okay, just like I'm supporting any people, U.S. people, German people, everybody. So I don't see try investing in um, countries as a bad thing. So I did buy some stock of SpareBank. I'm gonna click on it. It had a enormous drop, and this company, it's down 90%, 91% so far in the last month, and probably a little bit more than that in the last couple of weeks. So the idea here is that it's like a binary outcome, right? The optimistic scenario is that um, Russia actually decides to stand up against its leader and ousts him, and then replaces it with someone else, or they adopt some kind of other system of government that instills more confidence in investors and everybody else around the world, showing them that they're actually ready to join civilized, you know, economy and civilized world to trade out there. And so this whole thing will actually be reversed. I think that it would be very bullish for the country and the entire world if they were to become more of an open market by deciding to switch leadership. And I think that's the upside of the situation. So Russians are in power of doing that to themselves and to their economy, and I think they can do it. I think it's a scenario that could happen. I give it like 25% chance, which is fairly high, of the people standing up and deciding to change things up in their own country. So I think it's fairly high because the lifestyle that they're going to be having, being cut off from the rest of the world, is going to be a lot worse than it is now or that it was a week ago. And they're going to feel that over the course of a year or two. And things are going to start, people are going to start being very unhappy and they'll be looking for a change. That's usually what happens. So I think it's a fairly good chance, maybe higher than 25%, maybe 50% chance of this happening. So if you look at a company like SpareBank, the assets are like already there, the infrastructure, the talent, the people are there, right? They know how to do things. They have the infrastructure built out, and the connections. It'll be easy to tie the strings back together that would have been severed with a few clicks of a button and a few handshakes and agreements. Trust is going to take a little bit to build up, but the sooner that this event happens that I'm talking about, if it happens, the better, because it's going to be an immediate rejection of somebody taking the country for granted and trying to strong arm the population into doing things that they don't necessarily want to do. So it's really going to be up to the Russian people if they will decide to pursue a more favorable economically lifestyle compared to some ambitious lifestyle of reunification with the former comrades back in Ukraine and other countries around Europe and perhaps southern Asia. not Southern Asia, but like this, all the stans and all that, all these countries that used to be part of the Soviet Union. So it's kind of like, okay, it's let's call it a 50-50 bet, or even a one quarter bet. If the company is down by 90, more than 90%, let's say 95%, um, that leaves it 1 in 20th. That's a 20 times return, right? So if there's a 1/4% chance to have a 20 time return, then that's kind of a good bet from an odds statistical standpoint. So I think that's interesting. One thing that I think is going to happen too is that, let me go back to the account and show you this. I'm really not in favor of buying natural gas. I'm sorry, leverage products of any type. I like to do the leverage myself through options. However, and margin, by the way. But this product here, I was trying to look for a good way to play natural gas in the short term, because natural gas is going to be in very high demand. I mean, countries like Germany are going to really need the natural gas. And so, and it's not just Germany, right? And Russia is a large producer, I'm sorry, exporter of natural gas. And electricity is going to be needed by many countries out there. And so I think that severing connections with Russia and their resources is going to be quite detrimental, and it's going to introduce a rise in natural gas prices. Not to mention inflation, right? So inflation causes usually commodities to go up anyways, and natural gas is a very sensitive one, just like oil, to inflationary pressures, because it's a necessity, and necessities usually feel it the first and the most in the beginning. So, inflationary scenario, supply limiting, so that's a recipe for higher prices for natural gas. It did go down today, which I was very surprised that it would be going down. But I think people are just kind of just scrambling for liquidity, and trying to figure out what to do with their money. But I think natural gas just doesn't have any other option to go up. Renewable energy sources are not going to be in effect in all these countries that want to switch tomorrow. So I think over the next year or so, there's going to be really high demand for natural gas. So that's why I bought this. I don't know how long I'm going to hold it, because it's usually kind of like a day trading instrument. All these leveraged ones don't really want to hold it for multi day periods because of beta decay and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. I don't know how long I'll keep the position. Maybe if it doubles the exit, or even before that. I'm not so sure. It could be a 1 day trade, could be a year trade. So that's that. And the last position that I wanted to is the opposite of the SpareBank bet, which is Intel. And Intel, to me, is a very safe bet, because they, first of all, it's a bit undervalued to begin with, in my opinion. It has a really nice dividend of 3%. It has a P ratio of under 10. And so I know that they're falling behind in technology a little bit, but they're still making, chips and all this kind of stuff. And the reason I like them right now, I didn't like them a week ago, but I like them now, is because they're isolated from kind of these, well, to an extent, from these global, tensions that we have going on. There was increased, tension with China and their Taiwan situation, and now Russia, Ukraine, right? So all these conflicts and higher tension that's happening in the world, and global trade might kind of subside, at least in some regions of the world. And I think Intel is a good answer for technology right now, actually, that's not affected as much, from these geopolitical events. So I think it's actually a good play, and we'll see if I'm right about that or not. So that might be a trade. Probably, I don't really plan on holding for too long. I think things will probably start resolving themselves in a year or so, and as soon as that happens, maybe even sooner, the way things have been, the speed with which things have been unfolding in the global scene in the last few years, it might be even sooner. So it's a trade. It's some of my thoughts. It's kind of like a hedge almost to the SpareBank trade a bet, and we'll see how it goes. But those are the movements that I made. I think that I might actually stick with that for a while. Not make too many other moves. I've just been routinely trying to, anyways, for income sell um, Goldman Sachs puts. If I go to Goldman Sachs, you'll see that I've sold another put here at 332.5, and hopefully that goes my way by the end of the week. You can see my return is already $75, so that's good because Goldman Sachs went up a little bit towards the end of the day. I think. Oh no, it didn't. Oh, it did. Sorry. So I sold it somewhere around here, and then it went up like a few dollars, so that helped. But 4 more days and I get that paycheck of $375. It was initially 400 and quick math 50. So I'm just gonna click on it just to confirm here. 450, $4.50 per contract. All right, well, so there you go, 450 that, and I have a bunch of options that I've sold against eBooks, right, which is kind of like big monthly income there, and those are about to expire on March 18th. So hopefully eBay still stays around this $30 level and the premium still stay elevated so I can sell even more options. So I'm trying to work my way through this downturn in the markets that's happening, and I'm just definitely not picking winners. And the reality situation is like I'm trying to survive with collecting premium rather than trying to like make hot bets, even though I just made a few hot bets, but it's only for a few $1,000s, where the vast majority of the money is going to either Apple, my key holdings of Realty Income, the Chinese stocks, or Main Street Capital. And those are kind of like my two main things. And then my offshoot trades are the ones I just mentioned today, which is SpareBank, Intel, and natural gas. So we'll see what happens with those. All right, well, that's it with the review. I just want to clarify some things, show you my latest moves, and so you can see what I'm doing and my thought process. I hope none of this is obviously financial advice. I hope that you guys are actually making more money than me, which shouldn't be too hard to do, since I've been losing to the market. So if you just held S&P 500, you'd be doing better. But even if you're doing worse or better, just let me know. Like, I'm interested to know how you guys are doing in these markets and how you're surviving and what you think the outcome is going to be, or what kind of bets are you making in this type of market that we have right now. All right, so I'm interested to hear from you. Okay, peace.